Hey, welcome everyone. We are going to be playing this Rakdos Aggro deck, and it does have Ravnica Allegiance cards, as you can see. It is, pretty straightforward mana base here. I did build the deck myself. Equal amounts of both sources, black and red, as you do have double black cards and some double red stuff. 12 1-drops in the deck. Footlight Fiend, pretty important role player. It works well with your sacrifice outlets, like your Fireblade Artist, nice 2/2 with haste. That allows you to close out games. Fanatical Firebrand, this card has gone way up in my card evaluations with the release of Ravnica Allegiance because it works so well with your spectacle stuff, like your Rigsmati Reveler, as you see here. This card is a Grizzly Bear that loots, or sometimes it'll just draw you 3 cards. Gutter Bones, also another way to trigger from essentially Spectacle. And we've got Judith here. Judith is one of the chase rares in the set, and even it's good in Rakdos, of course. It's good in any red-black creature-based deck, especially a deck that has sacrifice outlets like the Fireblade Artist. So we also have a couple removal spells, a couple Lava Coils, Bedevil, a nice flexible removal spell from Ravnica Allegiance. Theater of Horrors is a card that I like a lot. It's currently pretty underrated. It is kind of like an experimental frenzy, provides some card advantage, and it's going to do a lot. So stay tuned for the games. Hopefully we'll get this card into play. Rekindling Phoenix and Angrath, a couple top-end plays, and then Spawn and Mayhem. That's part of the reason for wanting to be heavier black, is you do get access to this card, and it is really an undercosted threat if you are able to spectacle it in to play. So this is the deck. As you see, we are going to go ahead and play with it. So it's going to be in a constructed event. And yes, we are going to choose to play with our Rakdos Aggro deck. So let's pull that up. So this hand is pretty good. We're hoping to draw more spells, but we have a nice start to the game with Fanatical Firebrand into Fireblade Artist. Although now I think we may just want to cast the Gutter Bones, having just drawn that. It could be straight up mono red. So if that's the case, we have to be a little bit worried about Goblin Chain Whirler. Expecting our opponent might just kill this here. Yeah. Kind of to be expected. Is it the Chain Dad? No. Lava Coil. Okay. Alright. So now the Gitu Lava Runner is a 2/2. That's pretty strong. Light up the stage for a mountain and another Gitu Lava Runner. I think I'm just gonna jam the Judith. Yeah, I think it's just play Judith here. We shall see what our opponent can do about this. Alright, so we're getting hit for a reasonable amount. If we wanted to block, we could actually just get a 2-for-1. But I do value the Judith rather highly. So I think we just take this. We're just gonna kind of sit back. We do have the Bedevil if we need to use it. That is kind of annoying. So when this dies, we can ping the Pyromancer. I think we're just getting rid of a Gitu Lava Runner here. And just kind of clearing off the board. So it essentially starts to become a top deck war at this, a race at this point. Interesting. We're only playing 4 spot removal spells, and we've drawn 3 of them. Okay, so Skewer is kind of like a Lightning Strike-esque card. It's a matter of which removal spell we use to get rid of the Runaway Steamkin. Not actually sure it matters. Maybe we were supposed to Lava Coil because of the haste creature. Anyways, we probably should have Lava Coiled the other dude. Wasn't thinking about Gitu Lava Runner, but should have been. So our opponent is just lighting us up here. Fully lighting up the stage. And we are forced to concede. But our draw, we didn't really draw a lot of our best cards. Hopefully we're able to bounce back a little bit. That was interesting. Well, we're playing 16 red, 16 black. And we have a lot of black. This is more reasonable. I think we keep the Fireblade Adept on top of our library. There's a commune with dinosaurs. Interesting. Revealing Regisaur Alpha. So just a green-red, big stuff Gruul deck with the dinosaur theme, perhaps. So this hand, like, even though we only have 3 spells, we can. Now we have a nice additional play, but we're looking to trigger Spectacle. Now, actually, this dragon hatchling, or raptor hatchling rather, is pretty annoying. We could sacrifice this. I don't think that's worth it. In fact, I think we're just attacking here with Fireblade Adept. If we attack with both, we ensure we can play the spawn this turn. But playing Judith also isn't bad. Our opponent might just take this hit, in which case we just play the spawn. Okay. So now we can actually trade the Footlight Fiend for the Dino, essentially, with Judith in play. I'm not going to sacrifice anything. So I think we're just attacking with these two. Blocks, I think that block would be pretty beneficial for us. So our opponent was probably smart there not to block. And now they're gonna have to deal with the spawn as well as everything else that's going on. Good old Needletooth Raptor. This is a real interesting deck. Okay. Once again, we have this option. We can sack a creature. So what happens if we do? Say we sacrifice the Footlight, deal 3. We can deal quite a bit of damage with this. I think we do it. So, So I'm just gonna go face here. So yeah, this puts our opponent down to 7, and actually, I think we already have lethal in play, because we can force through the 5, and then if these two die, we get the Judith triggers. So yeah, I think that's just game over. Alright, so 2 pretty quick ones right out of the gate there. I think this is close. We have the Rix Mahdi, so that allows us to do some looting. The hand is not great, but I think I'll try it. Drawing 2 of the same basic and no other lands is pretty frustrating. But I feel like there is a high chance we'll have black for next turn. So we can loot the Gutter Bones and potentially get it back later. And there's the swamp. So now we see the Gutter Bones here. Next turn, if we want to, we can get this back. But we might just want to further our board with something like a Fireblade Artist, or just the Gutter Bones. So let's see, is our opponent just on mono red? The mono red deck we played the first round actually looked pretty solid. So they're representing a removal spell. But I think we still just go for Fireblade Artist. It may very well die. May very well die here. Surprised it didn't. Wonder what our opponent could be holding. I mean, to be fair, this is only turn 3, but guess we'll see. Maybe it's a Goblin Chain Moral? Chain Dad? Now it's a Lightning Strike, okay. I guess we're just on the same plan. We're just way ahead. I mean, this is what this deck wants to do. We have a bunch of cheap creatures, get on board. Now our opponent plays something annoying, like maybe it's a Rekindling Phoenix, we just go Lava Coil. So we can kind of just get the gutter bones back whenever we want to. I think I'll play out this one from our hand. Doesn't seem like our opponent has a Chain Whirler. It's certainly possible that they do. Ooh. Well, that's good for us. Now our opponent's just effectively dead, because even though we're just stealing 5 here, the Footlight Fiend finishes the game if this dies. Alright, so after losing the first one, we're making our way back with 2 wins. There's some cards we have yet to really make use of, so I'm hoping to be able to do that for you all. Like this card, the Theater of Horrors. And this is actually probably the best hand we've had. We actually have both of our colors. Who would have thought it? So, yep, we're just gonna probably curve out here. Is this more mono red? Guess a lot of players grinding the mono R here. Interesting. So, our opponent elected to attack us. I'm gonna attack with both. It's weird. Our opponent could have just sacked their Firebrand to get rid of our Fanatical. But I guess they're dealing us 1 less damage that way if we decide to do it. So it's a weird balance, but if they are in fact playing Chain Whirler, which they are, because they're playing just straight mono red. We do have to think about that card a little bit. I think we just jam the Judith. And then it becomes a matter of what we want to attack with, if anything. I think because of our hand, we don't need to rush and just kind of try to play a little bit defensively. Alright, this is where things get real interesting. So there's a Runaway Steamkin. Our opponent could play another spell, but we still have this Fanatical Firebrand. We can actually start killing things off with Judith plus Firebrand. So now our opponent is using their Firebrand to get rid of our Fanatical, but we can respond to this by using the Fanatical. And I think they're gonna... We're just gonna make sure we get rid of the Runaway Steamkin, because they could have another spell there. Although it looks like they did not. So... I think we just still let our opponent, like, we don't want to potentially let them have a spell here and get blown out. So it's either Phoenix or Theater. I think we just go Phoenix and just pass. Not sure if that was right. So now we have Rekindling Phoenixes basically just staring at each other. Still think we take it slow. Since we have the theater, we don't have to rush. We can just pass turn. Don't think we want to sacrifice a creature. Probably just spawn. If we attack, our opponent probably just takes it, which might be okay for us because we would have 2 flyers. I guess I'll attack. Okay, so if they do take it, I mean, if they opt for the trade, that is interesting because we get to get rid of another creature here. I guess it's just the Pyromancer. If they have a Chain Whirler, they can actually get rid of our Rekindling. The way the triggers there work, I guess we can't actually deal with their Phoenix. Like, the way the triggers work there with the Judith, we have to target before the Phoenix actually... Like, before the egg token comes into play. Otherwise, we would just ping the token. If our opponent... Ooh, okay. Well, that's pretty annoying. Rude. Now there they had the option of Judith or this elemental. If they're attacking, now we may be able to turn the tables and just go for... Ooh, this is interesting. I think we for sure just block the Gitu Lava Runner because any removal spell that they could have also... Yeah, that was just a I don't really get that attack at all. So we don't want to sack. We get our Phoenix back. So these are cards we can cast off the theater. We can also activate the theater if we want to. Killing the Phoenix doesn't actually do anything though for us here. So we've got, let's see, 9, 11, possibly up to 12. So we don't have lethal. So it makes sense to hold at least something back. We attack with these, that would be 6. The Spawn seems like maybe the one to hold back. Yeah, I'm going to hold back the Spawn, I think, just because it's the biggest... the largest of our creatures. So we'll see how this works. Theater versus Experimental Frenzy. Chain Whirler, eh? And a risk factor. Well, we actually can just have our opponent draw the 3 cards here. I think that's what we do with Experimental Frenzy in play. So now I am gonna activate the Theater of Horrors. And I think we're going to be able to just lethal our opponent out here. We can actually just sacrifice the artist to itself. Now our opponent's all the way down to 4. And that's just game. So we played against a lot of mono red. Clearly can't control what you play against in these things. Now, Spawn does have trample, so yeah, our opponent went to -3 there. A lot of players, including myself, sometimes forget about the trample on the Spawn, but it's kind of nice in those types of situations. Okay, this seems like a pretty solid opener. Okay, well, I apologize if you didn't want to see a bunch of mono red, but people love their mono red. Well, the good thing about this is we get a good idea of the matchup, having played against it for now a third time. I guess one of the mono reds we played was like a dragon mono red. Our hand is not that good, so I'm not sure we want to try to play around Goblin Chain Whirler. I'm actually just going to get rid of the E2 Lava Runner. Alright, well, we're happy our opponent's passing. We're just running out our stuff. Hard to say what our opponent could have in hand. They could just be pretty flooded, I guess. So I think we want to just use this. Yeah, I think we just want to use this. This way we can, even though it doesn't get rid of the Phoenix entirely, we can get rid of it with the Firebrand, which will get rid of the token, of course. So this is a pretty nice interaction. We can sacrifice Gutter Bones to the artist, and then we can bring back the bones, which I think is the play, although we might as well get in with this one, I guess. So we're just gonna bring both back. So our opponent did take damage earlier from the Fireblade Artist. So we're just grinding our opponent out the hard way with Artists and Bones. Not the way it always happens, but sometimes you don't draw your haymakers or your theater, so. Flame of Kells, okay, so you have our opponent has a large runaway Steamkin, is what that means. Interesting. So if we sack, that means we can definitely bring back the other one. I don't think that's worth it. Although, yeah, so we're just gonna play both of our things now. Reasonable chance the Spawn just wins us the game now. It will become, I guess it won't become a 5/5 because we're not at 10 or less life, but it will deal the 1 damage. So it is a lethal threat all on its own. I guess now if our opponent has a 3 damage removal, they can actually just get the spawn off the board. So if they do, if our opponent had a lightning strike there, it would be fairly annoying. But we have 7 damage. 7 damage coming through that our opponent cannot do anything about. Or 8 damage if they want to put us at 10. Sure, we'll deal the max. We will max out. We'll put our opponent down to 2. Okay, so 4-1 with this deck. Sometimes, if you are playing on Arena, you get a decent amount of aggro, but... And we're also playing aggro, which is fair. And I shouldn't say playing on Arena in general, but we're playing best of 1. Right? So, that's definitely worth being aware of. Yeah. This is acceptable. Now the question is what we lead off on. I think it's just the Gutter Bones. We do have to pay 2 life there, but that's fine. Gutter Bones into Fireblade Artist. That is our plan. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Mountain plus Goblin Banneret. Alright. Alright. I see how it is. Now, it's not necessarily mono red, but it is a mountain and a red card that we're up against. So, our opponent missed a land drop. That's definitely good for us. We're just playing out our things. I think we're in a pretty good spot here. I mean, we have a lot of good draws. If our opponent gets to Chain Whirler, then we are in a bad spot. Interesting. I don't know if we want to play this because our opponent can double block on it, although we can leave back the Fanatical. So yeah, I think we play Fireblade and just attack with these. That gives us the option to mess up blocks, and it looks like our opponent's just absorbing that hit, which we're way ahead in this race. They could just be hoping to draw land for Chain Whirler, which would be fairly good here. I think we still have play, though. There's still play to the game. If our opponent plays Chain Whirler, that's the best thing they could do. It would get rid of our 3 1-toughness creatures. But they're not going to do that. Ooh, that is a spicy draw step. So we're continuing on the attacks. Our opponent really needs to try to figure out what they're going to do about this. So a few options here. If we If we Spectacle, we lose our removal spell, but it still seems really good if we do it. I think I'll do it. We're only losing one card, so it seems worth it. And lands are... Ooh, we actually drew a card we can cast. So, pretty nice turn. And the lands are nice because they just ensure us being able to bring back our Gutter Bones. So a lot of the times this deck just kind of picks at the opponent. Like they don't want to block. They don't want to trade with creatures like Footlight Fiend, like Gutter Bones. Like, and if our opponent were to block the Fiend, we could just start like pinging off their 1 toughness creatures. So this is a card that is pretty good in these types of matchups. Like there's another 1 toughness creature. And I think we're just sending in these two. Like, the Rix Madi gets blocked by the Viashino Pyromancer. Once again, our opponent just is in a rough spot. We can just dump all these cards back onto the battlefield. Okay. So I guess we just get rid of this Viashino Pyromancer, 2 for 1 our opponent, and play some more things. Oh, I apologize. I definitely should have brought this card back. That was just a oversight that probably won't matter, but could matter. It could matter. If we had brought it back, it would have made us probably winning maybe a turn earlier, but so I'm just gonna attack and get our opponent dead as quickly as we possibly can. Sorry for the misplay there. That was just brain fart on my part. So our opponent technically now they're dead, yeah. That's just Aggro. We can do this in a number of ways. We're just gonna take the Rekindling Phoenix. Okie dokie, let's go. We are doing it. We be doing it. Officially doing it. 5 wins and 1 loss. Hey, I enjoy these types of situations where you take that 1 loss to mono red and then you keep playing against it and you get your revenge. That is exactly what is going on here. We accept bones for days. Bones for days. Well, turn 1 bones. Let's go. Don't play I don't want our opponent to play Mountain this time, but there's a Sacred Foundry. Alright. It is not mono red. I hope you all, whoever is watching this, is rejoicing in that fact, as I am. But hey, this is a reputation of the metagame on Arena, so you jump in. These are the types of decks that that people are playing. A lot of aggro. So, it looks like our opponent's just letting a Xanto Vanguard die. We are just going to bang out this spawn on turn 3. And that is pretty great. Oh yeah. That is good. That is really nice. We are just gonna bash our opponent to oblivion. And there's another match. Came and went. This is fun. I like just playing some best of one and running over opponents sometimes. Ooh. Yeah. I think our first couple hands were pretty bad. We mulliganed our first couple games, but now things are looking better. Looking good. Alright. It wouldn't be a game of Magic with this deck without the Gutter Bones, because we seem to be drawing that card a lot, and it's been quite good. There's a Godless Shrine. Looks like it could be Esper. Or is Esper, I should say, considering that mana. I think we're just trying to fit this spawn onto the board. It's possible it gets countered. Opt. That means that our opponent does not have the counterspell. We're a little bit worried about Kaya's Wrath. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Hopefully, if this Judith resolves, I was about to say, we might be sad. Feels like we're supposed to play it there, but yeah, that's what I was afraid of. If we drew a land there, we could have Phoenix, which would have been nice. Being that it's game 1, Lava Coil is not as useful.
You can win. No time for a break.
Alright, I think we're just going face here. When in doubt, we bones.
Hold that thought.
That's annoying. Revitalize?
Skip to the good part.
Yeah, double Kaya's Wrath. Yes, we start paying to Fairy.
Want me to don't make another move.
Yeah. Now we are in a pretty rough spot. Unfortunately. That's an interesting card.
You know what? I'm not done yet.
Oh, Nexus of Fate. So now our opponent can just kind of start going off with Nexus.
Hurry!
And they have Teferi going up to 8.
I'll make use of that later.
I guess we can sack this to itself to make sure we deal 2 damage to Fairy.
Time for plan B, as soon as I think of one.
Here be monsters.
This does not feel like a game we are going to win.
No steel.
But sometimes that happens against Control, where you get into these situations where your opponent
We need
basically establishes control, and it's a matter of them just closing you out.
Well chosen.
Yeah. That's good. I think I'm going to concede this. Our opponent has enough at this point. I don't like conceding early, but I think we have been got. So now we are, what, at 6 wins and 2 losses? So this is the important one, to get all the way there. See if we can do it. Well, this hand is a keep. It's definitely a keep. We'd like a little bit more early stuff, but this was a pretty good draw. Fireblade Artist allows us to play that on 2, Theater on turn 3. Interestingly, we played a lot of red decks, and now we're playing a couple blue decks. This could be Izzet Drakes, possibly. Could be Mono Blue Tempo. Double Island makes me think it's Mono Blue, most likely. So, I think we're definitely playing out our Fireblade Artist. We do have to think about Merfolk Trickster in this spot. That could be annoying if our opponent were to have that. So I think we just pass. Yeah. As expected, as anticipated, it feels like if they're not doing anything, they've got a Trickster. So we'll see if there's an Obsession here as well. Curious Obsession on the Trickster. Curious Obsession is the card I find to be most annoying, although I guess the Tempest... Okay, here's a Stormcaller. That is manageable because we have the Footlight Fiend, which can ping the Storm Tamer. We can actually sacrifice it here. I think that's worth it. Just to make sure the Storm Tamer is out of the picture. I think I'll attack here. The Trickster is actually fairly valuable for our opponent because it's the only creature they have at the moment. And it turns on Wizard's Retort as well, if that's one of the counterspells they have there. Yeah, good old Theater. Our hand's not great, but we have Theater in play. So, we'll see how this goes. Yep, Tempest Chin, that's a good one. We are going to have a little bit of trouble with that. We do have the Angrath, which potentially can deal with Tempest Chin. Not the most exciting turn here. The problem with trying to use removal like Angrath on Tempest Chin is that the mono blue deck plays protection, like Dive Down. Oop. Here's an Obsession, so we are going to have to try to answer the Tempest Gian. There's a chance that we can do it. Our opponent didn't save the earlier creatures, so but there's a Storm Tamer. That's bad news for us. Well, certainly we want to attack on the ground. Our opponent's not gonna block though. So I think we just play out our Rekindling Phoenix. Actually, we can use the lands. Unfortunately, we have hit 2 lands off the Theater, but we can play a Phoenix. Hopefully this one resolves, and so we'll at least have a blocker that will pose an issue. Ugh, yeah. That's really good. Wizard's Retort. Now our opponent gets in for 7. So we're really looking for something like a Fanatical Firebrand can get rid of the Storm Tamer, and then we can Angrath. this does counter target spells or abilities. So if we play Angrath in minus on Tempest Chin, our opponent can counter it. But yeah, so Angrath is a removal spell if we are able to find that sequence of cards, but we do not. I think we are just straight up dead. But we're gonna attack. We want to get this last one. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to. Come on, Angrath. Come on. Come on. You can do it. We know we are DOB, but we are going to try.
Ever seen water burn? You will.
There it is. There it is. We are dead. Well, we didn't get all the way there, okay? But you don't always get there all the way there in Magic, you know? Can't expect to always get the 7 wins. We got 6, right? So we went 6-3. So what is that, like 60? I don't know. Anyways, it's well above. It's a decent win percentage. I'll show you my prizes. Ooh, all right, 800 gold, sweet. I will take this stuff. So, anyways, that was it for this black-red deck, and make sure to try it. I like playing it. If you like aggro, if you like red and black cards, this is the deck for you.